in kind of a Bach mood. I don't know if you guys are, if anybody's familiar with that, but it's from this really cool book called Bach, Inventions for Guitar Duet. What is this, a Schirmer book? Ariel. Anyhow, I gotta do some lessons on those. That happens to be a piece that just runs through my head all the time. That's invention number 4. Bach wrote these inventions, 15 two-part inventions, really designed for the keyboard, and where to sort of show off that anything one hand could do, the other could do. So what happens with that one is it opens up with one guitar doing C sharp. You gotta know what key you're in. I hope to get to that today. I have a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. I might not play too much because I want to give you a whole travelogue of what happened last weekend. I had a really fun weekend, and a lot of it had to do with music and Totally Guitars people. Now, while the first guitar continued, or the first part continues now with this, second guitar comes in, or the second part, with the same thing. No, I'm not even going to try to do them both at the same time, but I have to do a lesson on that. Invention number 4 in D minor. Pretty cool. Okay, what is going on? It's Friday. It's April 18th. Yep. And we are here in, well, they're telling me it's going to rain here again this week. I'm going to go down quickly some of the stuff that came out this week, and oh, one of these was this. I'm still on this classical and reading kick, so we got a few things that we still have to do before I get back to some of the songs that are piling up. The list is getting massive of tunes I need to get to, I know. But and let's see, and then I'm going to talk about keys anyway, because Dean had a great question. Dean, by the way, I guess this is going to get all kind of personal, man. The uploads you put up are always fun to watch. I hope you guys have seen his arrangement, or his version of Yesterday, because it is it's great. I generally don't have anything to say about his uploads because they're always great. Anyway, I'm so proud of you, man. Really good. Now, he came up with a good question that I'm going to address a little bit later. Why does it matter if you know what key you're in? So I might. We'll see what happens. See how long the rest of this rambling goes. And what else do I want to talk about? Oh, I'm going to talk about New York, but I'll get back to that in a minute. Let's quickly go through what we had happen this week. Finally getting to anyway, what does that all have to do with anything? I played all that stuff in the key of E. This week we finished up the 5 important keys as far as learning to read. So now I have some other really cool stuff on the horizon of that. We're going to be talking about minor keys. Oh, where do I need to go? What did it have to do with minor keys? Nothing really, except I started on a B minor chord. I used a couple nice, cool, spooky chords, some diminished and some half diminished and all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's the end of that thought. Let's get back on the train. What were the songs we had this week? We had the Bach Minuet in G. We had Thank You to Vanessa. We have Shotgun Down The Avalanche. That was probably the first song I ever heard by Shawn Colvin, and it knocked me out. I thought, this is really, really cool. That's, I don't know how old, I'm sure she says it's in the lesson, but it has to be at least 20 years ago. Maybe not. You know, time gets kind of elastic as other things happen. And Then, speaking of Target members and camp people and stuff, Bob Lindsay was here back in February, and I finally got around. His lesson was so long and involved, and that I figured I just got to put it out in small doses because it's and as you'll see as we get through the last couple of parts next week, that we were both getting pretty fried by the end. But it's a great little study in lots and lots of common. They're just the stuff people need to know to have a better grip on music. So thanks, Bob, for letting us share his lesson with everybody. I'm sure there's really cool stuff in there. Okay, that's it as far as all that goes. Let me get to Dean's question about why is it important to know what key you're in. One of the deals is particularly if you're improvising, if you're playing a chord progression. Oh, here's a better example. It's almost the same song. No, that'll work. Down by the River. If you're playing a lead over E minor and A, you might think I'm in E minor. Then you play an E minor scale. And when I went to an A chord, if you played those same notes, it's not going to work. Why? Because it's not in the key of E minor. It's in the key of E Dorian. Got it? Well, anyway, that's kind of the deal there. We need a C sharp in that one for it to work because that's what the A chord does to it. But more importantly, if you're now messing around over those chords, well, now it goes to a C chord, and if you don't change keys, changes keys again. Didn't really answer the question, but the simple answer that I really wanted to get to is that sometimes songs change keys, or sometimes you may decide to do it in a different key. But I also think that, as we talked about on the forum, we just knowing what number you're on in the key, like right there, as I was playing through that, I'm thinking E minor, but I know that note 6 has to be a C sharp, not C natural, because of the A chord in there. And so that's what I'm thinking in there is, and part of it is I'm seeing that when I play an A chord or an A7 down here, there's a C sharp right there, and it has to be part of my lead. And if I play a C natural in there, it clashes really badly. So anyway, those 5 keys that I've gone through in the Guide to Reading Music are really, it's really easy to focus in on them and know your C scale, G scale, A, E, and D. There we go. Okay. Oh, to make it bluesy with that. Okay, right there I played through a lot of different keys and it didn't make a whole lot of musical sense, but hopefully it's still kind of interesting. Okay, enough about all that. I got to tell you about last weekend because it was a blast. As I think I mentioned, probably here, my wife and I went back to New York to see Lizzie play a few softball games. We saw softball in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. And the highlight, really, of it was a very long day, what turned into a really long 24-hour day. Of course, we took a red eye out there in the first place. So we arrive in JFK at about 7:30 in the morning, and wind our way through traffic and end up in Orangeburg, have dinner with breakfast, I guess it was, with Liz. And then luckily the hotel let us in a little early, so we managed to get a noon napper in or something like that. But then went out and caught a little softball that day. The next day they were playing in this beautiful school, Chestnut Hill, in just outside. Well, I guess it's officially in Philadelphia probably, but which was about a 3-hour drive from where we were. And so beautiful day out there, and this school is really stunning, I got to tell you. So Lizzie played really well, by the way, too. We were proud of her. So, and then left after that game and drove out to Phoenixville, near where Valley Forge is, or Valley Forge is its own little thing near there, and met up with Chan and Lynn and John, another TG member who will be coming to the camp this year, and driving through kind of rural Pennsylvania there. It was just beautiful. And then we all went to see Al Stewart and Dave Nachmanoff play at the Colonial Theater, it was called. And I would really like it if Chan or Lynn could chime in with a little review of the show, or they had gotten together and been playing music all day. And so it'd be nice to hear a little bit more there. She probably put some of that stuff up on Facebook, but I don't get to my Facebook. So anyway, if it'd be nice if you guys would relay some of the story here in the forum of what you thought about the whole thing, and particularly what you thought about Al's show with Dave, which had some really interesting things in it. I'll maybe elaborate on that a little bit more. He did a lot of it was about what I would expect, and then a little of it was what I would really expect, which is to have no idea what he's going to do. And he went into some songs that were pretty strange. Oh, Dave even did one. Well, Dave played some really neat songs in the first place, and went into his own little version of Yes, You Got It. Anyway, and we're still working on. So Dave, of course, will be doing our IGC this year, and we're still working on Al. It helped that I showed up to see him in Philadelphia. He was pretty surprised. So that was, I think, got a chance to stay back in his face about maybe coming to join us in September. Let's see, what else happened? Then, next morning we went out, Nani and I got up and walked around Valley Forge, pretty cool little place, and then got back in the car and drove another 3 hours to Lyndhurst, New Jersey, to catch a game that we were very late for because of a really horrible accident. But anyway, I'll save that story for later. But a very cool part about this was another TG member came out who was on her way to go see the Al show that night in Manhattan. He was playing a place called the City Winery. And this is somebody who has been a little bit on the forum. Jean is her name. And she came out and hung out with us at the softball game for a little while. And it'd be great if she would, Jean, if you're out there, if you're watching the news. I know, I tell people, don't spend too much time doing this. You got to be practicing and not listening to me. I gotta wrap this up. This is taking too long. But be nice to hear a report of your take on the Al Stewart show in New York. So it'd be nice to get some reviews from you guys. Lynn, Chan, John, if you want to weigh in and let us know what you thought about the Saturday night show, or Jean, if you want to let us know what happened, what you thought about the Sunday show. And do want to thank you. Jean showed up with something kind of unexpected, being from California. We have, as you probably know, we have a lot of wineries out here. And every time I'm in a foreign state, I usually like to check out wines from those areas. And she showed up with a bottle of wine from New Jersey that was pretty good. I got to admit, I don't have it here handy, so I can show you the bottle. But Jean, thank you very much. And it was, I guess I would have to say, better than I would have thought, but I don't know, but I've tasted wines from other places that are really good. They just don't get into California, because I think California wineries are snobby and, you know, don't want to acknowledge the fact that wine can be made in other places. Florida, Hawaii, the Hawaiian wine, the Maui Blanc and stuff like that, generally stay away from. But New York, some great ones out there. Okay, I did not really mean to talk too much about wine today, but Al is of course a big wine guy, and it's always fun to talk wine with Al. Okay, I think that's enough of the update. Catch you next week.